What's going on, YouTube? So this video is going to be the truth about gaining muscle. Personally, I feel like the fitness industry seriously complicates the whole process of gaining muscle and getting fit in general. This video is going to be my personal attempt at the most basic explanation, okay? The most simplest way to explain how to gain muscle. This video mostly pertains to you if you're a natural. So if you're on steroids or if you're on PED, performance enhancing drugs, none of this is really going to apply to you. So assuming that you're a rather young person, literally as young as anywhere from someone in their early teens to your 20s, you can never necessarily be too old to start gaining muscle. So really this video can apply to you if you just want to understand the basics of how to, start that process for yourself and really gain some muscle on your body. But overall, this video is targeting a natural who is just starting out in the gym looking to gain a lot of muscle. Maybe you're someone that's already been working out for quite some time, a year or so, but you want to learn as much as you can to get stronger and in better shape. So if that's you, then you're in the right place, my friend. Really quickly, some information about me. The information that I'm going to share behind this process, it comes from me being a personal trainer, and it's just a passion of mine to share the fitness knowledge that I have gained from my experience in lifting. I've done a bodybuilding show when I was 19, got super lean for that. It was a natural bodybuilding show. It was the first time I ever did one. I believe I was the youngest in the class of 7 guys, and I ended up getting 4th place. Nothing to throw a party about. I do believe at the very least that does give me the credibility to talk about this topic. So by all means, here we go. Now, there are a lot of key points I want to go over, but the main one here, okay, is that any plan at all in the gym is better than no plan. Okay, so what do I mean by this? Understand that going to the gym randomly, spontaneously, whenever you feel like it. For instance, let's say you wake up on a Tuesday and you're like, you know what, I'm feeling great. Today's gonna be a chest day. But then all of a sudden, maybe you had a stressful day later on, something happened that kind of threw you off your game. And then maybe you went to a party, let off some steam. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just making stuff up for this scenario. But let's say your recovery was thrown off that night and you woke up not feeling so well, didn't go to the gym. And then, life just sort of happened. You didn't go for another week. If you keep going about that pattern consistently with that pattern, ironic because you're not being consistent in the gym, you're being consistent with being inconsistent in the gym, if anything. But if you keep repeating that process, you'll really never get anywhere and your body's never gonna change. Just like anything else, you need to be consistent. So I don't even care if it's twice a week, once a week. And a lot of trainers are gonna say that, oh, once a week isn't enough. I would argue that any movement at all is better than no movement. So any plan at all in the gym is better than no plan. If you go randomly, sporadically, whenever you feel like it, that's never gonna be consistent enough to see results that are significant. Not to mention that you're probably not even hitting the same muscle groups on the days that you do actually go to the gym. The famous saying, no plan at all is planning to fail. That essentially is the 101 when it comes to working out, at least in my opinion. A really basic way to get this going, okay, the most simplest way, day 1, upper body, day 2, lower body. If you're just starting out in the gym, keep repeating those 2 workouts week after week, and that alone would show you a significant amount of progress in your physique. I don't care if it's push-pull leg, I don't care if it's the Arnold split, okay? I don't care if it's, bodybuilding.com, any plan, okay, is better than no plan, okay? So understand that. This is probably the second thing I think you need to understand the most. 2 compound movements, okay? What is a compound movement? Okay, a compound movement is a lift or exercise that essentially involves multiple muscles to get the movement done. Now, let me emphasize, while yes, the squat, bench, deadlift are great examples of compound movements, you don't have to be a powerlifter in the gym to get a good physique. That's totally inaccurate. While I myself do like those movements, and in the beginning when I first started my fitness journey, I actually did those consistently, progressive overload with those, adding weight week to week, I did see a lot of muscle growth. A lot of my muscle gain specifically with me came from squatting and deadlifting like a maniac. I've been doing those 2 movements ever since I was 17 years old. I'm lower body dominant. I believe the majority of my muscle on my physique is in my legs, okay? And I would attribute that to the amount that I've deadlifted and squatted throughout my fitness career. But even someone like me that loves those compound movements, they just happen to be the powerlifting movements, okay? I don't compete in powerlifting like that. And you do not have to do those movements for your training to apply to what I'm saying. Incline dumbbell bench, weighted dips, Bulgarian split squats, goblet squats, the hack squat if your gym has one. My gym unfortunately doesn't have a hack squat. You gotta have a strong core and foundation to be able to sustain that weight up and down. So the same goes for deadlift, the same goes for RDLs. RDLs are another great example of a compound movement that doesn't fall under the squat, bench, deadlift. For back, you could do bent over rows, pull-ups, dumbbell rows, flat dumbbell bench, whatever you wanna do. I think I just gave you like 5 or 6 workouts that you could do that aren't squat, bench, deadlift. But the point is, okay, the ultimate point I'm trying to make, you wanna do 2 compound movements, twice a week, okay? One for your upper body and one for your lower body. So choose two of them. It doesn't matter which ones they are. Like I've already said about 3 times, it doesn't have to be squat, bench, or deadlift. But the key point is you want to be consistent with those 2 compound movements, okay? So keep doing those same 2 week after week after week. If you commit to that and just have like a diet that's 50 to 60% clean, you're not doing any major hardcore drugs, as long as you're not doing anything like that, damaging your own body, you eat clean for, about 50 to 60% of the time, you commit to these compound movements like that, twice a week, your physique is gonna blow up with muscle. I can assure you that. The clients that I've had as a trainer, okay, I've had people that have never touched a weight. I put them through just a very simple workout routine like, okay, on the first day, we're gonna do dumbbell bench. And on the second day, we're gonna do a lower body one, let's say RDLs. Just by doing those consistently, not only does it attribute to muscle growth almost the fastest because your body's being forced to grow as a whole when you do these exercises, but when you do these exercises consistently, it's almost inevitable that you're gonna get stronger in them. It could be anywhere from like 2 to 3 weeks, but you're gonna get strong in them pretty quickly, and that does so much for you mentally, especially when you're first starting out in the gym, or for someone that's totally new to the scene. Seeing the weight go up even from 5 to 10 pounds, that's a huge win. That's gonna make you feel like what you're doing is paying off, and that momentum is just gonna keep carrying through, which is ultimately gonna change your physique for good, which is something I think is even more valuable, but that's a different video. Okay, so 2 compound movements, one for your upper body, one for your lower body. Now that we got that down, another point I want to bring is this part is more so from my training experience, and it's definitely up for debate, but I myself do feel like it does have a lot of credibility, and it's something I wanted to include in this video. Your first 2 years of training as a natural, year 1, year 2 in the gym, you want to hit your major muscle groups, so chest, back, quads, hamstrings, shoulders, the major muscle groups, you want to do them twice a week. Now, the reason that is before your muscles start to experience resistance consistently, they're basically in like their infant stage, okay? So we want the muscles to grow in size, right? So before we can get them to experience a heavier load, which is essentially what lifting weights is, before we can do that, we need to apply stability into the muscles. So acclimating them to the stress that working out puts your muscles through as fast as we can almost, without injury, without rushing a process, is what we want to do. We want to find a sweet spot for somewhere in between. To achieve growth, get your muscles stable fast so we can get them stronger so that ultimately they'll grow in size. Because you're new to the gym, it's best to hit those major muscle groups twice a week if you can, to really adapt your body to the process, because that is ultimately what the body is the best at doing, is adapting. So the more you can get into the gym as a beginner, it's just gonna make that process of you gaining muscle a lot easier. Okay, so understand that. I'm not saying go 7 days a week, okay? That is in fact the opposite of what I'm saying. You need to develop some sort of workout routine that has you hitting your major muscle groups twice a week. This is specifically for your first 1 to 2 years in the gym. We want to acclimate your body, get you gaining muscle fast. Because you're hitting the muscle groups twice a week, it's okay to have the workouts and exercises you do for those muscle groups relatively the same on the days that you hit them again, right? But what's important is that the days are far apart from each other. So let's say you hit chest on Monday. The earliest you should hit chest again is Thursday. Tuesday, Wednesday, I would say even Thursday's too early, like maybe like Friday. The rule that I always went by and still go by is you have to give that muscle group at least at the bare minimum 2 to 3 days to recover before you can hit it again. If you keep hitting the muscle groups like essentially on top of each other, like one day between, this is a big mistake I see in beginners in the gym. Yes, you may be getting good workouts in, but you're never allowing your muscles the chance to recover. So you're gonna go to that other workout, hit the muscle group again, probably not be as strong or get as much of a pump. Just by doing that, you're gonna keep hindering your own process. You're gonna be like on this treadmill of no gains. Just constantly going 100% when you don't even have full gas in the tank, and because of that, your muscle growth is gonna be hindered. So definitely don't do that. Sorry for hopping around here, but one thing I kind of forgot to mention earlier, I did emphasize how important compound movements are. You want to do those at the beginning of your workout when you have the majority of your energy. It's a really good way to get you mentally ready for the workout because you got to really put in a lot of effort for whatever those compound movements may be. Do anywhere from 3 to sometimes as much as like 5 sets of those. I'm not even kidding. That may sound like a lot if you're a beginner, but everything takes time, everything takes adaptation. And so the more comfortable you can get with doing that compound movement, honestly, the more muscle you're gonna gain as a whole, and you're just gonna get a lot bigger really fast. I don't mean to sidetrack or hop around, my apologies on that. However, the point is, okay, do the compound movement at the beginning of your workout. After your compound movement, go get a pump. This is like the 101 of what I've always done personally that I'm gonna explain to you right now. Let's say it's a leg day. On that particular day, my leg day, my squat setup might look something like 315 for 3 sets of 8, and then a drop set of 225 for all out for as many reps as I can do. I'll try to get to 10. Like that's a great example of what I can give, especially after 3 sets of heavyweight with squats. And then I'll do leg extensions and RDLs. It's that simple. Like I don't mean to sound arrogant or like kind of like dumb it down. If you can commit to a routine like this, just apply that same rule book to all of the muscle groups. So chest, let's do weighted dips, and then let's get some flies in. I'm being very rash, obviously do more workouts than that. Less is more, okay, in this situation. So because you're putting in so much effort into those compound movements, I would say anywhere from 3 to 5 movements, you know, after your compound movement, send blood flow to those muscle groups, and then you're out the gym. Next thing you know, it's only been around 40 minutes to an hour. If you can't commit 40 minutes to an hour twice a week, I don't know if you really want this, you know? That's just kind of like what I like to say to my, you know, clients in the beginning, obviously in a very polite way. I don't really just straight up say it like that, but that's kind of how I like to go about my training. Do your compound movement, your main exercise. That's like the meat and potatoes of the workout. Then go get a pump. The pump is like the icing on the cake. Okay, that's the fun part of the workout to me. Exercises like leg extension, curls, tricep extension, lateral raises, okay? These are workouts that I see like pumping a basketball with air. The basketball being your muscles and the air being blood. The very last point I want to leave you with in this video is that the only supplement you need is creatine. If it's not creatine, you do not need it. It's simply just you getting it because you want to, which is totally fine. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna say this here and I really wanna emphasize this. Creatine is the only supplement you need. 5 milligrams a day, nothing more, nothing less. Take a scoop of it around an hour before your workout, hydrate well, get enough sleep, and you're gonna see a lot of growth. Pre-workout, okay, that's definitely, I don't really consider that like a main supplement. I mean, you kind of need energy to lift. Obviously, don't abuse caffeine, okay, like a maniac. Don't do that, okay? You don't wanna have a heart attack. But I wouldn't really consider pre-workout like a main, I mean, of course it's a supplement. Yes, of course, I understand that. But it's like, I kind of feel like it's just a given to take pre-workout. Like I said, within reason, you should not be like taking multiple scoops of pre-workout every single day. Maybe on your days, you know you're gonna go heavier or more intense, have the pre-workout on those days, but on days where you're not gonna go as crazy, don't take the pre-workout. It can really be that simple. Protein powder is good, yes, but I like to say food is king, so the only scenario I myself would ever like have a protein drink is if I was in a time crunch. That's kind of like what I like to tell my clients is you don't really need to get protein powder. It's really only for people that just have trouble getting protein in, or because of work or whatever, they're in a time crunch and they don't necessarily have the time to sit down and eat. So it's just easier for them to make a shake. That I totally understand. But like I said, food is king. So as long as you're eating foods with high amounts of protein, you know, calorically dense foods, you are definitely gonna see muscular growth. The very last thing I'll say in this video, okay guys, you can never out-train a bad diet, but you can out-diet bad training. So yes, this video was focused on training and how to go about your workout routine as a beginner in the gym. However, if you eat like garbage, this isn't really gonna help you. And I'm not saying go on some crazy bodybuilding diet. That's not at all what I'm saying. Earlier, I said calorically dense. That really just means foods that are satiating. They make you full. Those are really just foods that are high in protein with a moderate amount of fat and carbs. If you just eat mostly calorically dense foods, high in protein, and it doesn't even really need to be that clean. But if you eat whatever you want and thinking that you can just go hard in the gym and work it off, that's just not the case. Understand the concept of balance. If you work out hard and put the effort in, of course you can eat foods you can enjoy. It's not good for you mentally to just always be on this strict diet, but understand too much of one thing is never a good thing. So eating foods that you enjoy all the time also isn't good. So understand the concept of balance. If you made it this far in the video, that means the world to me. So I can't thank you enough for that. I really hope you now have a good understanding as to how to get your fitness journey started the most efficiently. I also really hope watching this motivated you to get started with the correct knowledge in the gym, and now you're ready to gain some muscle. Reach out to my Instagram for a one-on-one personal training at liam.canning. I'll put it up on the screen. I'd love to work with you. Let's change your life together. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Enjoy the rest of your day. This was definitely one of the more educational videos I've done, so I'm trying to get into the routine of making more content similar to this. So let me know what you guys saw of this video so I can do a better job in the future. Make sure you subscribe, by the way, so you can get these videos weekly. And yeah, thank you for watching. From everything that you learned in this video, I think it's time for you to go gain a serious amount of muscle. See ya, YouTube.